Penis. This is the male organ used in sexual intercourse. It has three parts: the root, which attaches to the wall of the abdomen, the body or shaft, and the glans, which is the cone-shaped part at the end of the penis. The glans, also called the head of the penis, is covered with a loose layer of skin called foreskin. This skin is sometimes removed in a procedure called circumcision. The opening of the urethra, the tube that transports semen and urine, is at the tip of the penis. The glans of the penis also contains a number of sensitive nerves endings. The body of the penis is cylindrical in shape and consists of three circular-shaped chambers. These chambers are made of a special sponge-like tissue. This tissue contains thousands of large spaces that fill with blood when the man is sexually aroused. As the penis fills with blood, it becomes rigid and erect, which allows for penetration during sexual intercourse. The skin of the penis is loose and elastic to accommodate changes in penis size during an erection. Semen, which contains sperm, reproductive cells, is expelled, ejaculated, through the end of the penis when the man reaches sexual climax, orgasm. When the penis is erect, the flow of urine is blocked from the urethra, allowing only semen to be ejaculated at orgasm. Scrotum. This is a loose sponge-like sac of skin that hangs behind and below the penis. It contains the testicles, also called tests, as well as many nerves and blood vessels. The scrotum acts as a climate control system for the testes. For normal sperm development, the testes must be at a temperature slightly cooler than body temperature. Special muscles in the wall of the scrotum allow it to contract and relax, moving the testicles closer to the body for warm or farther away from the body to cool temperature. Testicles. These are oval organs about the size of large olives that lie in the scrotum, secured at either end by a structure called the spermatic cord. Most men have two testicles. The testicles are responsible for making testosterone, the primary male sex hormone, and for generating sperm. Within the testicles are coiled masses of tubes called seminiferous tubules. These tubes are responsible for producing sperm cells. Epididymis. The epididymis is a long coiled tube that rests on the backside of each testicle. It transports and stores sperm cells that are produced in the testicles. It also is the job of the epididymis to bring the sperm to maturity, since the sperm that emerge from the testicles are immature and incapable of fertilization. During sexual arousal, contractions force the sperm into the vas deferens. Vas deferens. The vas deferens is a long muscular tube that travels from the epididymis into the pelvic cavity to just behind the bladder. The vas deferens transports mature sperm to the urethra, the tube that carries urine or sperm to outside of the body in preparation for ejaculation. Ejaculatory ducts. These are formed by the function of the vas deferens and the seminal vesicles. The ejaculatory ducts empty into the urethra. Urethra. The urethra is a tube that carries urine from the bladder to outside of the body. In males, it has the additional function of ejaculating semen when the man reaches orgasm. When the penis is erect during sex, the flow of urine is blocked from the urethra, allowing only semen to be ejaculated at orgasm. Seminal vesicles. The seminal vesicles are sac-like pouches that attach to the vas deferens near the base of the bladder. The seminal vesicles produce a sugar-rich fluid fructus that provides the sperm with a source of energy to help them move. The fluid of the seminal vesicles makes up most of the volume of a man's ejaculatory fluid or ejaculate. Prostatic gland. The prostatic gland is a walnut-sized structure that is located below the urinary bladder in front of the rectum. The prostatic gland contributes additional fluid to the ejaculate. Prostatic fluids also help to nourish the sperm. The urethra, which carries the ejaculate to be expelled during orgasm, runs through the center of the prostatic gland. Bulbourethral glands, also called Cowper's glands, these are pea-sized structures located on the sides of the urethra just below the prostatic gland. These glands produce a clear, slippery fluid that empties directly into the urethra. This fluid serves to lubricate the urethra and to neutralize any acidity that may be present due to residual drops of urine in the urethra.
The ovaries. The ovaries are a pair of small glands about the size and shape of almonds, located on the left and right sides of the pelvic body cavity. lateral to the superior portion of the uterus. Ovaries produce female sex hormones such as estrogen and progesterone, as well as ova, the female gametes. Ovaries are produced from the oocyte cells and slowly develop throughout a woman's early life and reach maturity after puberty. Each month during ovulation, a mature ovum is released. The ovum travels from the ovary to the fallopian tube, where it might be fertilized before reaching the uterus. Fallopian tubes. The fallopian tubes are a pair of muscular tubes that extend from the left and right superior corners of the uterus to the edge of the ovaries. The fallopian tubes end in a funnel-shaped structure called infundibulum, which is covered with a small finger-like projections called fimbriae. The fimbriae switch over the upside of the ovaries to pick up, release ova, and carry them into the infundibulum for transport to the uterus. The inside of each fallopian tube is covered in cilia that works with the smooth muscle of the tube to carry the ovum to the uterus. The uterus is a hollow muscular pear-shaped organ located post and superior to the urinary bladder, connected to the two fallopian tubes and in superior end and to the vagina. On its inferior end, the uterus is also known as the bone, and it surrounds and supports the developing fetus during pregnancy. The inner lining of the uterus, known as endometrium, provides support to the embryo during early development. The visceral muscle of the uterus contracts during childbirth to push the fetus through the birth canal.
The vagina is an elastic muscular tube that connects the cervix and the uterus to the exterior of the body. It is located inferior to the uterus and posterior to the urinary bladder. The vagina functions as the receptacle for the penis during sexual intercourse and carries sperm to the uterus and fallopian tubes. It also serves as the birth canal by stretching to allow delivery on the fetus during childbirth. During menstruation, the menstrual flow exits the body by the vagina. The vulva is the collective name for the external female genitalia located in the pubic region of the body. The vulva surrounds the external ends of the urethral opening and the vagina and includes the mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, and clitoris. The mons pubis or pubic mound is a raised layer of adipose tissue between the skin and the pubic bone that provides cushioning to the vulva. The inferior portion of the mons pubis splits into left and right halves called the labia majora. The mons pubis and labia majora are covered with pubic hairs. Inside of the labia majora are smaller, hairless folds of skin called the labia minora that surround the vaginal and urethral openings. On the superior end of the labia minora is a small mass of erectile tissue known as the clitoris that contain many nerve endings for sensing sexual pleasure. The breasts are specialized organs of the female body that contains mammary glands, milk ducts, and adipose tissue. The two breasts are located on the left and right sides of the thoracic region of the body. In the center of each breast is a highly pigmented nipple that releases milk when stimulated. The areola, a thin, highly pigmented band of skin that surrounds the nipple, protects the underlying tissues during breastfeeding. The mammary glands are a special type of pseudiferous glands that have been modified to produce milk to feed infants. Within each breast, 15 to 20 clusters of mammary glands become active during pregnancy and remain active until milk is no longer needed. The milk passes through milk ducts on its way to the nipple where it exits the body. Worn on the penis made of latex or plastic prevent pregnancy and sexually transmitted infection. Can be used with another form of birth control for extra protection. Can be used for vaginal, anal, or oral sex. Safe, effective, and easy to get. Cost about one each, but are sometimes available for free.
Is vasectomy. Vasectomy is a form of birth control for men that is meant to be permanent. Vasectomy work. Sperm are made in the testicles. They pass through two tubes called the vas deferens to other glands and mix with seminal fluid to form semen. Vasectomy blocks each vas deferens and keeps sperm out of the seminal fluid. These sperm are absorbed by the body instead of being ejaculated.
What is the morning after pill? Emergency contraception is a safe way to prevent pregnancy after unprotected sex. There are different types of emergency contraception, and some work better than others. There are two ways to prevent pregnancy after you have unprotected sex. Option 1. Get a Paraguard IUD within 120 hours 5 days after having unprotected sex. This is the most effective type of emergency contraception. Option 2. Take an emergency contraceptive pill, aka the morning after pill, within 120 hours, 5 days, after having unprotected sex. There are two types of morning after pills. A pill with ulipristal acetate, there's only one brand called Ella. And a pill, levonorgestrel's brand names include Plan B One Step, Next Choice One Dose, Take Action, My Way, After Pills, and others.
An IUD is a tiny device that's inserted in your uterus to prevent pregnancy. It's long-term, reversible, and one of the most effective birth control methods out there. How do IUDs work? Both copper IUD and hormonal IUD prevent pregnancy by changing the way sperm moves so they can't get to an egg. If sperm can't make it into an egg, pregnancy can't happen. The Paragard IUD uses copper to prevent pregnancy. Sperm don't like copper, so the Paragard IUD makes it almost impossible for sperm to get into the egg. The hormones in Liletta, Mirena, and Skyla and Kylina, IUDs, prevent pregnancy in two ways. They thicken the mucus that lives on the cervix, which blocks and traps the sperm. And the hormones also sometimes stop eggs from leaving your ovaries, called ovulation, which means there's no egg for an sperm to fertilize. No egg, no pregnancy. The pituitary gland is a pea-sized structure located at the base of the brain, just below the hypothalamus, to which it is attached via nerve fibers. It is part of the endocrine system and produces critical hormones, which are chemical substances that control various bodily functions. The pituitary is divided into three sections: the anterior, intermediate, and posterior lobes. The anterior lobe is mainly involved in the development of the body, sexual maturation, and reproduction. Hormones produced by the anterior lobe regulate growth and stimulate the adrenal and thyroid glands, as well as the ovaries and testes. It also generates prolactin, which enables new mothers to produce milk. The intermediate lobe of the pituitary gland releases a hormone that stimulates the melanocytes, cells which control pigmentation, like skin color, through the production of melanin. The production lobe produces antidiuretic hormone, which reclaims water from the kidneys and conserves it in the bloodstream to prevent dehydration. Oxytocin is also produced by the posterior lobe, aiding in uterine contractions during childbirth and stimulating the production and release of milk.
I'm going to talk about the pituitary gland, but focus on things in women like our period. First of all, we need to know that the pituitary gland is an important gland in the body. It's often referred to as the master gland. It controls several of the other hormone glands. But where is it? It's in a body hollow called the pituitary fossa. This is behind the bridge of the nose and below the base of the brain, close to the optic nerves. It is often considered the most important part of the endocrine system because it produces hormones that control many functions of the other endocrine glands. But what does it have to do with menstruation? Focusing on menstrual cycle, the female reproductive system is a wonderfully complex system involving continuous communication between the brain centers and the ovary. Hormones secreted by the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, and the ovary are the messengers, which regulate the monthly cycle. Brain structures called the hypothalamus and pituitary gland control the menstrual cycle, as I said, The pituitary gland makes hormones that trigger the ovaries to make estrogen and progesterone. These hormones make the lining of the uterus womb thicker to prepare the body for a pregnancy that may happen. But when the pregnancy does not happen, hormone levels drop and the lining of the uterus comes away. This is called a period or menstruation. The cycles happens again, and again. Disorders of the hypothalamus pituitary gland or ovaries can affect menstruation, causing amenorrhea. And making a brief preamble, menorrhea is the absence of menstrual periods. But you should know that the pituitary gland is immensely important to the overall function on your endocrine system. That it means that it's important for your health, for your body, for you, and to your overall health. By working with the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland ensures that all your body's internal processes work as they should.